everyone, my name is Megan Stacey. I am the artist in residence for the Tech Lab, and this is the first of a series of workshops we will be doing on art and technology throughout the season. We're starting off with 3 workshops on video, culminating in a mini film festival on October 2nd. If you would like to participate, please contact the Tech Lab. Today we will be looking at Rube Goldberg machines. Rube Goldberg machines are machines that do something very, very simple in an immensely complicated way. They were first designed by American cartoonist Rube Goldberg, who would draw them out as impossible machines as illustrations. The difference is now, they're not just illustrations, they're made in real life. Today we are going to be designing, building, and filming our own. Your task is to set a timer for 5 minutes and write down as many simple and mundane tasks as you can think of. This could be anything from opening a door, cracking an egg, pouring water, whatever. A good start is to think of everything you did since getting up this morning. What are all of the little steps that you have to go through to get that routine done? Write them all down, and anything else you can, just keep your pen moving for 5 minutes. After writing out your list, take your favorite highlighter and mark out 5 actions that stand out to you. Once you've done this, set another 5-minute timer and catalog as many objects as you can. So take a look around your room or whatever space you're in, and write down just as many things as you can see and you have immediate access to. Pay close attention to anything that might move, might have any potential for action. So that could be an electric toothbrush, a wind-up car, a ball that could go down a ramp, anything like that. You're not going to be using all of this, but you want to know what you have to work with. Now look at your 5 highlighted actions and your list, and try to find one object to match up with each action. With these pairings, come up with how your machine is going to start and how your machine is going to end. Maybe you know that you want to start with cracking an egg and end with giving your dog a treat. Now the middle is the most complicated and fun part to design, but having an A and a B to connect makes it a lot easier. For your machine, absurdity and complexity is key. You want to take as long as you can to get from that point A to that point B. I mean, we spend so much time in our day-to-day lives trying to make everything as streamlined and clean, as efficient as possible. You're trying to fight against that and make a machine that is completely absurd in how unnecessary it is. Once you've run your machine a few times and tested it to get at all the kinks, then it's time to film. With this project, we have 2 ways of filming that we're going to be looking at. The first is a continuous shot, and the second is setting up multiple shots. So with a continuous shot, what you're doing is building tension. You are dragging the audience along as your machine goes, making them constantly wonder whether it's all going to work out or not. You're making them hold their breath in a certain kind of way. The trick with filming this sort of shot is stability. So as you're filming, you are trying to match exactly where your object in motion is. So here is your camera, here is the object in motion, and you want to be following it as closely as you can. So you don't want to have a really, really shaky camera because the object isn't shaky. Or you don't want to be moving behind it or ahead of it. You want to be right on parallel with it. So this can be done really beautifully, especially if your machine is a little slower and you don't have anything kind of whipping and buzzing around anywhere. But you don't want to have a really, really shaky camera, and you don't want to have a difference in pace on what you're doing. So be sure when you're doing it that you just kind of keep your camera close to your body as you're following, or you use some sort of dolly system, like duct taping your camera to a rolling chair. If you're choosing to do multiple shots, you're essentially taking on the role of an action movie director. So you're trying to look at your machine and see what are the most exciting parts and how can you put your viewer in there. You'll be jumping and switching from different points of action, keeping the audience on the edge of their seat wondering what's going to happen next. For these shots, you're setting up multiple still shots throughout your machine. So you're going to be running the machine multiple times to get these sort of still shots. It's not a one-shot deal like the continuous one. For the multiple shots, you're just going to keep your camera still somewhere for each shot. You don't have to have your hand on it, moving it anywhere. That's sort of disorienting. What you're trying to do is focus on the object in motion. So if your camera is moving, what the audience is focusing on is the motion of the camera, not the motion of the object. The exercise you're doing is one in framing. So you're trying to figure out where are the points in your machine that are the most exciting. Where are points where things are breaking, falling over, moving forward, that's where you're going to want to break up all of your shots at these points of action. So you don't want to have 6 shots of a ball rolling down a ramp. You want to have 1 shot of that ball rolling down that ramp, then another shot as it breaks down into whatever it's going into next. And you can play with different angles on this. So do you want to put your audience right underneath the machine so they can see something going overhead? Do you want to put your audience right next to it so they're following as something's dashing by? Do you want to put them in front of it so that they're seeing as something breaks down towards them? This, again, you're sort of thinking like you're an action movie director. And you're trying to come up with the most exciting moments of tension you possibly can. Don't worry about making a million shots. Just try to come up with what the shots are that are the most exciting. So once again, your options are a nice continuous shot of your machine as a whole, where you're working on your camera work, following it through, or doing multiple shots where the camera's perfectly still in a couple of different positions, either seeing the machine as a whole and then getting up nice and close and seeing the action firsthand. With both the continuous shot and the multiple shots, you want to make sure when you're editing that the pace of the machine is that in real life. It will be very, very obvious if the ball is moving at a pace that is completely impossible, or if you have a transition going where something should roll right into the shot, but there's a couple seconds before it does. So while you're editing, you want to make sure you're running your machine just to get a feel of the pace of it, so that you can convey that perfectly as you make the movie. Regardless of what filming technique you choose to use, be sure to have fun with it. And whatever you make, send it on over to the library so it can be in our film festival on October 2nd. We can't wait to see what you make.